Alright everybody, it's Wednesday, so welcome back to another review for the Handmaid's Tale. This is Rob for Smirking Gun Reviews. Spoilers ahead, and we have our second contest winner to be named at the end of this video. So again, yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen this. Also, again, if this is the first time watching one of my reviews for the Handmaid's Tale, I like to warn you that I probably am going to swear, and I don't mean to offend anybody, because this show tends to piss me off. But there's really, it gets me heated anyway. I don't know how long this video is going to be because I'm not sure how much I have to actually say about it. But it was a really good episode, like most episodes. Some parts I felt like were a little, like, June has a bad habit of being really obvious when she's trying, when she's trying to be discreet as she's asking something without asking. She is so on the goddamn, like, it's so obvious what she's doing that I don't know how they don't, like, backhand her all the time. Not that I want that to happen, but fucking A, man. Be so much more subtle. She's supposed to be a pretty clever girl, but man, can she be blatantly obvious sometimes. A little annoying. I think that's like the there's a lot of like blatant obviousness a lot of times in this show that just drives me up the fucking wall. Whether it's Nick and June fucking each other and like being completely obvious about what like anybody looking at those two, scenes like that. I know that really doesn't have anything to do with this episode, but except for when June's sitting there and she's talking about, what they must be going through and everything, and, about the baby Angela. It's just so obvious, and it just annoys me. But anyway, most of this episode is kind of like, last week we have the empowerment. She gets, June gets to work with a pen, and Serena is starting to, take it upon herself to try to help her husband out. She's breaking the rules. She's becoming a heretic to help out the cause and her husband and everything. But I think what really is happening is what I've said in other videos, that Serena's starting to see the hypocrisy in the shit she created. Oh, wow, it in no fucking way absolves her of anything, okay? In my opinion, for me, in my opinion, you drink the Kool-Aid, you take the country over. Just because you start seeing the error of your ways, doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay for it. And I still stand by that, no matter what she goes through. You started this fucking shit, you stupid asshole. So when bad shit happens, all you have to do is, you can only blame yourself for going down this goddamn ridiculous path, you stupid moron. So even, what I don't understand, I said this last week too. What did they think was going to happen when he came back? That he was going to be grateful? Yeah, he partially is. But up to that extent that only a man can be proud of his wife. All this God praise be bullshit. I'm so sick and tired of this like phony baloney, trusting God's will bullcrap that these people keep spewing out. So he comes back from the hospital, and she tells him what she's been doing, but he doesn't know to the extent that she's been overstepping her female bounds in his name. Trying to help him out, and again, like I said, I think that she's only trying to help him out, but she's also, first, she subconsciously, I feel, is she knows how good she could be to their cause, but because of the rules that she helped initiate, whatever, she's completely, thrown herself, like they ask, June asks her if she misses working, and it's a small price to pay for, doing however she put it, like God's will or some crap. Another thing, like just another, moment to me. Just the stuff that they spew out. It's like, do you really believe this? You really believe the fucking shit that comes out of your mouth? And you know what? In this world, I'm metaphorically banging my head against the wall every time I hear people like this talk. And I think, how can people be this stupid? And it just is. There are people that are just this blind and this dumb and this just slaves to a belief system when they can't even see the hypocrisy of it all. And even, so she's, Fred here, thinks, hey, everything's all good and the house is going to be back to normal. And then he starts looking around when everybody else is doing shit behind his back. And he starts seeing, the little music box in June's room and the rose, and starts looking around. And clearly he finds all the stuff she's been writing on his behalf. And God forbid, even if it's right, it's not God's will. And, in the midst of this, when she thinks, that they're partners, Serena, she deep down thinks that this thing that they've been involved in, that she's still Fred. He's still Fred and she's still Serena. Like, they can talk to each other like real, like the people that started this thing. And in this, she really starts to find out how little she, the Pandora's box that she opened when she started, helped start this whole movement, or, was a part of it. Because he is gonna, there's a whole lot of man-woman stuff in this when they talk about, what was it, men are afraid that women are gonna laugh at them and women are afraid of men are gonna kill them. That is a pretty, true statement. That is a true statement, because the men's insecurities in this world, in our world as well, but in this world, these male egos, they would let children die and call it God's will, because they just want things their way. They just want things their way. It has nothing to do with God. They use God as a figurehead to excuse the fact that they just want women to be fucking slaves and to bow down and blow them and fuck them and do whatever and let them sleep with handmaids. It's all this is. It's all just a bunch of crap. I don't even know if I've really been reviewing this episode, because this stuff just gets so under my skin. There is an actual plot going on about this baby Angela, and about how Serena is starting to see more and more, like, what she's caused, I feel. When they have a perfectly good Martha, I still can't get over the fact that they call all maids Marthas. I'd like to know who Martha number 1 was. But that she used to be, a baby doctor, like a really famous, and there's a technical name that they had for it, but I'm just going to call it a really, really, like, world famous baby doctor. Booted down to maid status because she's a woman. And when Fred says that he has no interest, we can't break the rules. It's God's will if this baby dies, because we can't use a woman's help, because that's what God would want. So when Serena goes around his head, forges documents to get the lady in there to find out that there's nothing they can even do, which was also a sad scene when you see this Martha realize she's getting a chance to be a doctor, if only for a few hours. And just, in that way, it's almost worse that you pull her out of it to let her know, to show her what she's lost. Like, here's a chance to do it for a second. Here's what you've lost. We're going to send you right back into it. That was a hard scene, having that little breakdown in the changing room, or the, whatever. But just to find out that there was nothing to be done about it anyway. And then when Fred finds out, he, has offered June and Serena go into his office, where he proceeds to make June watch him spank with a belt, and it's across the ass, right? Like normally whippings, like floggings, are against the back. Maybe it was against her ass so that if anybody ever saw her back, I don't know. But he beats his wife because that's what God would want, right? So he whoops her ass, literally. And this is what she gets for stepping out of line. And, even when June tries to, talk to her later and she's like trying to put on a face, now, you just go to your room, and she's holding back tears. And June is upset too. I don't know why. This whole solidarity thing, I guess, like they felt like June maybe felt like they were getting close, a connection. Maybe there was some kind of breach. They were branching olive branches, whatever. But there's still like, you can't really trust Serena. You can't really be friends with her. You can't really get that close. You're gonna get fucking burned. And even though it's, some people will be like, well, this is the Serena Joy journey now, like her road to redemption. Fuck redemption, okay? If she learns that she was wrong, and she still needs to pay, I don't give a crap, okay? And maybe they won't go that route because it's not realistic, whatever, but, like that's just the angry side of everybody who wants to see the bad people pay, but in the real world, they don't really. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but she still needs to pay in some fashion for everything she's done. I hope she takes herself out. I don't care how she goes, honestly, as long as it's like bad. We got Janine. I did like there was like this one little scene that had a little bit of brightness in it, and I was there at the beginning when June is saying like go with whatever the fuck one of their goddamn bullshit sayings are, and she says may the force be with you. That was great. Also the whole baby pushing its foot against you and pushing out like in the movie Alien. Another like back to back like a couple of little pop culture references that show that Janine may be messed up, but she's still her. And now she thinks that June's crazy for liking aliens more than Alien, which I agree. But I digress on that part. And it kind of feels like the handmaids are getting a little more emboldened now because of after the bombing and just how they've talked to each other and they've said their real names. I feel like the handmaids are starting to be a little more bold. You could tell in the grocery, and not just because Emily's like getting raped, makes that comment about that, like, it just seemed like there's a tonal difference in their behavior right now, a little more rebellious, a little bit more willing to say, like, go to hell. And I think June is trying to ride that line of her own little plan, but I think eventually this is going to be, they should never have given us uniforms if they didn't want us to be an army. I think is going to hopefully play pretty, important part later on. The whole thing with the baby and faith and all that garbage, and that's just me being me when I comes to faith and stuff, that the baby, that they said nothing could be done about. They wake up and Janine is stripped off her uniform and is holding the baby, and the baby appears to be doing much better. That's, kind of how the episode ends. It's still not going to end well for Janine. They're going to be like, oh, well, great, the baby's better, so fuck off now. Put your uniform back on and go back to where you came from. It was nice to see Janine be able to hold her baby and all this stuff, but she better enjoy it for that second because I doubt, it's going to go on for very long. You can tell that Nick's little bride has got some, she's going to, I keep saying she's going to be problems, man. She is going to be problems. She's trying really hard and Nick is clearly not interested. He's very just, whatever little comment he makes towards her that, pleases her. She's not an evil person. She's just another lost person in this whole situation. But I do think she's going to be, trouble down the road. When she realizes that, he really is not into this, okay? And who would, when you're around somebody long enough, they're going to start seeing the cracks in your, armor, story, whatever. That's really, the crux of this story. There's so many more intricate ways I could put this in the psychological fashion or something about, but I'm not, about women and children and how men, but I'm not a parent. I don't have children. I have never felt that unconditional love thing. So when it comes to that, I try not to touch those subjects because people will rip you apart because, how far would you go for your child and all that kind of stuff. I can't personally attest to having any kind of feelings like that, so I don't try to pretend that I do. So fuck me, right? Anyway, I'm sure that in retrospect I'll think about the next week's episode. Old Fred's going to Canada. I hope that turns out well for him, right? As we can see, people are like, that's Waterford, Naomi, is it Naomi? I can't remember now, but, they're paying attention in Canada. Fred's wanting Serena to, be the happy wife and all this stuff. And then you've got the guy from I think that's the guy from Parenthood, who wants Serena Joy to tell her story. If I'm reading that scene correctly in next week's preview episode. So, this could be like, this guy's trying to get her to write the story of I was a fucking, whatever, behind the lines kind of, enemy lines kind of story of whatever. But we'll see how that goes. It should be pretty good. Episode 9 is next week. So now, regardless if I forgot anything, I've talked for over almost 17 minutes on this. Again, I don't know how much I reviewed it, except more like my emotional status as I'm watching it. But it was a good episode. It's hard to watch. I mean, I like the contrast of the Motown music that they were playing at the beginning, and then the music that Fred was playing at the end. I also like when Fred came in, it sounded almost like a Doomsday March kind of like music that they play. Like, here comes this guy, and then like the evil, like Darth Vader's coming home. I don't know. That's just kind of how I took it. Anyway. So, as far as the contest goes, the last week's contest winner did not send me their information. So, I still have both of the posters. I'm willing to, I want to do away with one now. So, the person that wins for this week has their choice of either of the two posters that I've previously put up. And that winner is Jennifer Lindsay. You are the person I picked out of the hat. I didn't have the hat here this time, but Jennifer Lindsay, you made a comment. I picked your name out of the hat. So if you want one of these posters, you can either put your information on a message on YouTube, and we can, once I get it, I can delete it afterwards. I don't know how that works. Or, like I said, go to my Twitter at Yesh8, YESSHH8. Send me your information there if you want the poster. And just tell me what poster you want of the two, and I will send that out to you. So congratulations, Jennifer Lindsay. If you want the poster, it's up to you. Anyway, we are up to 84 subscribers, which means we are only 16 away from 100, which means we're having another contest. There is the other contest going on over at Westworld Videos, where if you leave a comment on my newest Westworld video and you're a subscriber, you can win a Season 2 Westworld poster. So if you want to be a part of that contest and you are a subscriber, head over to that video and leave a comment on that video. Anyway, that's about it for this week. Again, congratulations to Jennifer Lindsay. Hopefully you want to post one of the posters and send me your information. Otherwise, we will see you next week on another Handmaid's Tale review. This is Rob from my Smirking Gun Reviews channel, and we will see you on the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.